There are two blocks in this quilt, and both are variations of the potato chip block. And I'll show you that in a bit. The potato chip block is made completely from rectangles. In this case, they're 2" by 4" finished. And in this 12" block, there are 18 of the rectangles. This one, it's the same block, only here, this block, I thought ahead for the center, and instead of putting 2 rectangles, I put a square. And there are rectangles everywhere else. And everywhere else, they're the same as this block. Only the lights and darks are reversed on these, and they're set alternately in the block layout. So here's what the traditional, I'll call it, potato chip block looks like. You start with 2 rectangles in the center and sew those together, and then I'll show you pictures of how the rest of it is constructed. These are stitched together, and for these blocks I press to one side. The next section we're going to put 1 rectangle at the top and 1 at the bottom. Stitch those and press. And here is the finished block. You could keep going and make the block bigger and bigger, or you can even make it smaller. You can even take rectangles that are smaller or larger and put them together the same way. If you make the rectangles smaller or larger, just be sure that they are true rectangles. This is a 2 by 4, so the small side is half the size of the large side. So you need a 2 by 4 or a 1.5 by 3 or a 3 by 6 rectangle. Otherwise, your pattern won't work out right. This is a great block, the scrappy block, for using your leftover jelly roll scraps. You have those little pieces left over, what do you do with them? We'll cut them into rectangles because you already have your 2.5" cut. This is the perfect block to use your chain piecing. You just put the rectangles together and just piece and piece and piece. For the center one, you can take your number of blocks and just sew that many pairs together. And then the same thing with these stitched this way and these this way. There's 2 here, and then there's 3 on this side and 3 on this side. These can all be chain pieced. Now for using the calculator for the scrappy quilt, you'll just find out how many blocks you need to make the quilt size you want. In this case, the block is finished at 12 inches. And then the calculator will tell you how much fabric you need to make the entire quilt. If you want to do this version where we're alternating the pieces, you can use your rectangles here in the center, or you can cut the squares. The calculator won't do the squares for you, but you can do that if you want. And then I just pieced these rectangles together because it was, to me, I was on a roll cutting rectangles, so I just kept cutting them. So the calculator, you use it the same way. It's a 12" finished block, and you find out how many you need for the quilt size you need and do your calculations. And then what you'll do is take half of that number, whatever fabric you need, take half of it, and that's the light fabric, and the other half would be the dark fabric in your assorted fabrics. There's a link in the description below this video that tells you all this information, and you'll have it right there at your fingertips, and you'll have both of the fabric calculators there. How to determine the size of the quilt, and then how to determine how much fabric you need. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and while you're at it, click the bell to be notified of future videos.